Hello and welcome back to this very requested series between Milkshake and NMD. Milkshake took the first game on Towers of Doom, and now we're getting into the second one on Cursed Hollow. And Vandy, how excited are you for this one?
Pretty excited. I mean, Milkshake, they've shown that they're quite confident to draft and execute their team comp. So something similar that they're running in this second game already, eyes noticing. And this time as well, same on the side of NMD with a couple of mild changes. This time as well, I think that they're drafting more to their strengths, more to their comforts.
Yeah, we are seeing on the blue side, it is Milkshake. They have Magic Gnome on the Malthael, Coffee Clubber on Zaya, Crazy Dave on Rhaegar, Azog the Cat on Varian, and Deceptive Smurf is on the Greymane.
And on the side of NMD, we've got Hiccup playing Garrosh, Vicarak on Arthas, Ninja on Kael'thas, Lahal on Malfurion, and Physics playing Genji.
Alright, and already at level 1, we're seeing some very different ideas coming out from both sides. We have Milkshake on the top side trying to get as much out of this Zaya as possible. As in the mid lane, we have NMD trying to just equalize this as much as possible.
They really are, both teams. They're not fussed at all about the laning. They want to get this front wall down, and let's see who's gonna... It's almost like a game of chicken. Who's going to fall first? Happy with this front wall being taken out, we can start to see. On the side of NMD, they are rotating. They don't want to let these guys push on through to the fort. See if they can get a kill now.
Oh, and they have a lot of tools to lock down the side of Milkshake. They do get the nice Wrecking Ball onto Crazy Dave. He's going to be the first one to take a lot of the aggression, but so many low members on the side of Milkshake. They do manage to get out of there in the end, though, so maybe it seemed like a little bit of off-target prioritization from NMD there.
It really did. I think it was just the Wrecking Ball just hit the wrong target, which ended up being Crazy Dave. That was a whole new health bar that they needed to attack. Ghostwolf was able, even with the body blocking trying to stop him, Ghostwolf was able to get him out of harm's way. So like I said, with the rotation, it doesn't punish them too much. It would have favored them more, however, if they did get a kill, because they were the ones that were forced to rotate.
Yeah, and we are seeing yet again Malthael having a fun lane in the solo, just bullying absolutely anyone around. He's going to have a gay old time down there and not have too much of a trouble unless he gets some rotation down. But we are seeing just the majority of heroes on the map just sticking around this top side, just trying to get this laning phase, trying to get some kind of advantage going. They do get a nice gravity lapse into lockdown combo onto Coffee Club, and he's actually just going to die.
This was the kill that NMD were looking for very much in that early game. So they get it this time for their troubles. This time they'll go back and refresh. But like I said, like you were saying, down in the bottom lane, Vicarak is having a hard time laning against Magic Gnome on that Malthael. Vicarak himself, quite an avid Malthael player, knows the heroes ins and outs, and I'm sure he also knows the power matchups. Needs some assistance with that one.
Yeah, it can get very rough regardless of who you are. And Hiccup, another one of those heroes, another one of those players who's on a very susceptible hero to that Malthael's Reaper's Mark on that Garrosh. We saw in the previous game, just not able to deal with all that percentage damage, and also the healing debuff that we got coming in at 7. So if we do see that again, we could very much see this front line not have a very enjoyable time in these fights.
Exactly right. Magic Dome showing us that a touch of death can get so much value. This time NMD, they are not running that double support, but they might be using to utilize the same tactics as they did last game. The RNG does favor. It does favor Milkshake on that bottom side. Yep.
Alrighty, so we are getting to this first point, but there's not really much of a rotation coming out from NMD just yet. There's just the two frontliners here, and to see how much they can get in there. They use both of their long-range interrupts simultaneously, so they don't have much left. As Physics does come in time, they will be able to delay it just a little bit longer as Magic Gnome gets flipped away from his team, but the Zaya shields are helping out, and all the healing coming out from Crazy Dave is going to be helping as well. So it's just going to go back to battle stations, I guess, but already on the side of NMD, they're starting to struggle in these fights. They're just losing a little bit more health than what they would have liked.
They are. I mean, I'm looking at Milkshake's comp. It's quite smart against that Genji composition. You do have that Varian for the lockdown as well as the Zari for the shields to really sustain.
Yeah, he gets flipped in, but not really much of the follow-up. We were talking about this between the game. It seems as though NMD are using this Garrosh as just a replacement for a Stitches. They have a lot of the tools that we usually see following up a Stitches with the Malfurion and also a Kael'thas, but it's just not really, it works a lot weirder than just the regular Stitches combos, as we do just have the engagement going in. Nice lockdown coming out from the Malfurion, as the damage coming out from the Calthas is doing a lot of work. The Malthael is going to be the first one to drop in this fight. Deceptive Smurf is going to go down, as well as Azog the Cat doesn't have nearly enough parry stacks to work his way through that one. And in the end, it is actually going to be NMD picking up the fight and this first tribute.
Although Milkshake were first on the scene, they just could not capitalize on it. That was a fantastic entangling ruse coming out of Lahal, really enabling a lot of the plays from his team and allowing them to follow up. I'm glad that he landed as well, because he was so low on mana, there would have been no follow-up if the fight went on for any longer. Might have run out of steam in the tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone on the side of NMD was starting to drop very low, not just in mana pools, but also in health bars. So had that gone on any longer, it could have been a very precarious position for NMD, but they do end up getting that. They do end up getting the slight advantage early on in this game, and now we're just gonna have to see how the rest of this one plays out. How NMD want to play it, try and get that race to level 10.
They do. I mean, also worth noting was both teams opted to get their golems as well, but neither team managed to get too much value out of that, even though it was an extended fight, because they were cleared out prior to that. Magic Gnome now, he might have bitten off more than he can chew, however his team is there to back him up. Could have been something different. Hiccup was able to block his escape path and Wrecking Ball him back into NMD's jaws. Would have been a totally different story.
Yeah, and that's essentially the thing with this lineup from NMD. It's all about the follow-up. You have a decent amount of crowd control, but you kind of need that full team follow-up to get the most value out of a lot of their damage, and if they're not able to get those big resets coming out from that Genji, it could very well get to the point where they just don't have nearly enough damage to keep these fights going in their favor.
Oh, Magic Gnome, he's getting very, very aggressive. He knows that he can be the frontliner with so much, as I said, he's got the Zarya shields, he also does have Crazy Dave to heal him. Oh, look at this, another Entangling Vines, that debuff being applied onto Azog.
Oh, the Deceptive Smurf gets thrown into the teamfight, but he doesn't manage to get himself out of there, and he's going to start wailing away damage from afar, as it looks like Magic Gnome is going to get in right amongst it. He's taking so much damage to the Soul Orbs, are helping out, but he doesn't have enough sustain. He is going to go down, as the Living Bomb is actually going to go off and do a decent amount of work, but in the end it's just a 2 for 2. As Deceptive Smurf, he wants to turn around and keep the fight going, but just not nearly enough follow-up there from the rest of his team, and in the end it's going to be a 3 for 2 in favor of NMD, and they also pick up this next tribute.
You can see how close these team fights are, and it's about how they execute. Like you said, where's the follow-up coming out from both teams, and then where do they go from once they get the kill? It's going to be a very tight game. Like, I can already tell it based off that. If they group up, it really does favor Ninja because of that Living Bomb. If they get isolated, however, it does favor the side of Milkshake. So both teams, they need to read how these team fights are going and make sure that they can capitalize on them.
Yeah, and we need to see level 10 there coming out for Milkshake, and we'll have to see what they do and we'll go with the heroics. It is going to be the taunt, so no fancy Colossus Smash plays coming out from him just yet. We also have Expulsion Zone and a lot of just the standard pickups for all of them, as Vikarak is going to get caught out in rotation, takes so much damage, and there we see the first use of that taunt and Curse Bullet, just absolutely demolishing that frontliner. Has had no counterplay for that at all, and this looks like it's just going to be a boss going up to Milkshake, but NMD want to try and contest it. Yeah,
because of Vikarak falling, they wasted no time. Because of their positioning, they're shredding it, especially with that Malthael.
And the nice damage coming out from the KT as the Dragon Blade is going to come wailing through, but the nice Ancestral keeps the rest of the team alive as the boss does finally go down. A nice Twilight Dream does hit a lot of the members of Milkshake, but the Tormented Souls is going to help out in doing a lot of damage, and this looks like it's going to be a cleanup fight for Milkshake. They look like they were going to get caught in a very bad boss pit, but in the end they do manage to stick it out. All the shields, all the healing, all the sustainability coming out for Milkshake is just a little bit too much for them right now.
Yeah, NMD was hoping that would be the boss throw pit. It wasn't. That turnaround onto physics by Deceptive Smurf. Great stuff.
That was ballsy. He was like, oh, you want to fight? Okay, let's turn it on.
let's have a fight. With this boss pushing in the top lane now, it leaves Milkshake able to go rotate and actually take their boss now. So it's applying pressure by utilizing that boss in the top lane, applying pressure and finding value in the other lanes. This time the boss in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and it allows them to get so much push going. Sure, they're behind in experience just a little bit, but these bosses will help out for sure in that regard.
Definitely will this time as well. NMD, they want to contest, this time much more timid. As I said, because of that Malthael, they're able to take the boss down in record speeds and not really worry about it too much. So in that top boss fight, I'm not really sure. I know NMD, they were hoping to use the boss as like a 5th member, but you were still taking a 4v5 fight.
And now it's it looks like NMD just been dragged around the map. They have to go to the top and they lose the boss on the bottom side. They have to respond to that boss on the bottom side, and now this tribute is on the top side. This is going to equalize the tribute score, so Milkshake is still in a reasonable position as we get later into this game.
I mean, think about it. Worst case scenario as well. If we talk about how things could have gone a little bit differently for NMD, they traded out the top boss, they got that bottom boss, but why it was so important, they needed the next tribute because that would have been cursed tribute, and you would have had a boss perhaps still pushing down as well.
Oh, Milkshake in a very precarious position. They've pretty much traded positions. Milkshake are on the blue team, but they're on the red side of the map, and vice versa. So we're trying to get these fights started. The nice gravity lapse goes down onto the Xayah, but not able to get too much more follow-up damages. The shielding and the healing is coming out quite well for Milkshake, but it looks like the poke is starting to push them back. They just don't have nearly as much poke on their side. They do get a charge in. There's a nice expulsion zone gets used to separate the members of NMD, but they don't really get position for the fight as Magic Gnome takes a lot of damage. He does actually not get the Ancestral, but the taunt coming out from the Baron helped out a lot. His physics trying to get something done, but he's so low, has to be very careful in this fight. The Grand Main drops, and it looks like this is just going to be a fight going very much in favor of NMD, and a lot of it came down to the positioning right at the start. They were just stuck in a hole, really.
They are. Crazy Dave going to be the last one to fall. Curse being picked up. This is going to be NMD. They need to get some value out of this push. Where it really punished Milkshake was that they couldn't cap that tribute. There was enough poke and store going out so that they could clear out the boss in the bottom lane and get all the way to that tribute. The fact that they won this curse is massive. Like I said, NMD, they need to get some value, get those structures down, start to pad their experience bar.
Absolutely. As we do get the push down onto the mid lane, they want to at least push in as much as they can just in a single lane, while the others will passively push very strongly throughout the point of this curses. Looks like Milkshake are going to be back in time to try and defend, but Magic Gnome gets flipped into the team, does get hit with the Warlord's challenges. The damage coming out for the KT is starting to stack up, but they are going very low. Hiccup dropped down to a very meager amount of health as the healing from Malfurion is just not nearly enough. He is going to use the Ice Block, but doesn't necessarily have the Twilight Drape to help out. There's a lot of low members on the side of NMD, but they are able to get out of there without losing a single member.
I can't believe Lahal lived. He was literally down to 17 health. Absolutely insane that he walked away from that fight because Twilight Dream was down. Still respawning from that last fight. Crazy stuff. That really does also punish Milkshake to some extent. They would have gotten some nice experience. Yes, they did successfully defend, but they wanted the experience from the kills. And more so, if they did get the kills, they could then do a counter push, which they cannot do now because of NMD being back. They've reset with new health, new mana, ready to take another fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to square one. Sure, there's a little bit in favor of NMD. When it just comes to experience, they're much closer to level 16. They should be able to pick that up before the next tribute spawns, and that could very well be a point of contact as Vikrak is out of position, gets caught up, and there's absolutely nothing that he can do and nothing that the rest of his team can do to help him out. So that's just going to be a clean pickup on the side of Milkshake.
Expulsion zone shows that if you're in a choke, we're going to block your escape route. Great use of cooldowns, and they read the map perfectly. This favors them so much. By getting that pick means that they can, again, force a fight on boss, and if NMD want to contest, it will be another 5v4.
Yeah, and this could be a little bit precarious. They don't have the expulsion zone. As we saw, it was used to just deny any reinforcements coming out from NMD, but I think they're not really going to get onto the point. They want to try and get some poke in, but they're not overcommitting to this NMD. Just
that's good.
Accepting that they're going to lose that boss and just suffering through the consequences.
Yeah, using that scouting drone to do all the vision, do all the hard yards for them. They learned their lesson from the last time, and that's great. That's showing NMD as well. They're learning on the fly. It's about getting that poke damage down, then you can go in and contest the boss. But they read that they were so healthy. Yes, some heroics were down, but that extra member that they need Vikrak to be able to run in there, soak up a lot of the damage that would be thrown their way.
Yeah, and now that that boss has been taken care of, and there's still only 10 seconds for the bottom side boss, it may not be enough time for Milkshake to just burn it down. We don't have the level 16 yet for Milkshake. They That's probably something they'll want to pick up before they come into the next fight, but we already have NMD moving their way to the bomb side, expecting a boss play, but there's just no one there to find.
No, not yet. Not yet, at least. Look at this, though, the positioning from both teams. We can see they're trying to cover every route, give themselves as much vision as possible, because vision is key to winning one of these fights.
Yeah, Physics looks like he will manage to get this tribute. And Milkshake, they're just going to let that one go. It's just the first tribute for the side of NMD on this round of tributes, but they still need their level 16, and it looks like they're trying to at least get a position for a boss, but with NMD just forever on this side of the map, it's going to be a little bit hard for them to get that one.
Absolutely. It showed great restraint by Milkshake by waiting for that
Coffee
16.
Clubber gets flung into the team. He does have the shielding to help out. The Expulsion Zone gets used as well, as it does split up the team. And as well as challenges, the Zion is going to be the first one to fall in this fight. The Dragon Blade is running its way through. As the nice Ancestral does land onto Magic Gnome, keeping himself very high health in this fight. He does get locked down, but the damage is already being done as he gets flung out of a Flame Strike that could have very well sealed his fate. And in the end, this is just going to be a massive fight going over to Milkshake. They're going to be picking up at least 3 members. Look like they wanted a 4th, but they're not able to get it. But still, incredible fight coming out from Milkshake.
Great turnaround. It always seems to be their Wrecking Ball target doesn't seem to be the chosen one. It's punishing them so much because of the ability of Milkshake to be able to turn these fights. Once Milkshake goes all in, we can see how much damage they can bring, how much burst they've got to take out that member. They also have started that bottom boss. When they pick that up, they can start to push through that Lace and Good Siege. Now, this is going to be a mid-game boss, so it gets quite tanky. It's got quite a lot of durability. Should be able to at least take out the front keyboard.
Absolutely, and already seemed to doing a decent amount of damage to Magic Gnome. Yeah, he has a decent amount of sustain, but when it's a boss wailing on you 1v1, it's not really an enjoyable experience. But that's going to be the second tribute picked up for Milkshake. They are going to have this boss pushing as well, and they have a decent amount of control on this bomb side of the map, but NMD do have a little bit of room to they have a little bit of room to work with here.
They're reading the rotation, so they say, okay, NMD, they want to respond to this boss. All right, but Tribute throws a span in the works. This time they can leave the boss to their own devices, clean out their mid lane, start to pose around the Tribute, because this will be their cursed Tribute. They need to secure this one. They need to fight for it. Yeah,
and NMD, they're just going, we don't even care about this boss. We have a siege camp working its way through it to try and help out as much as possible. We want to deny this tribute as a curse bullet. It does go down onto Vikrak. He's dropped down to half. The healing from Malfurion will have to be enough as Magic Gnome is thrown into the team. He does get the Tormented Souls off. He's doing so much work as the members of NMD are starting to drop. Garrosh is going to be the first one to go down as there's just not enough coming out from the side of NMD, and it looks like what we saw in the last game is starting to come true again here. The Malthael getting flung into the team, kind of hurting more than it's helping right at this point.
It really, really is, because we see the follow-up. The Ancestral's good. It's just rough on the side of NMD because they're trying to pick these fights. They're trying to see. It's like the logic is sound, except it's punishing them because when they do, there's just so many tools to keep Magic Gnome alive through the Wrecking Ball.
And we do have the curse finally coming through for Milkshake. They will be able to at least grab a keep on the top side. The boss was still pushing on the bottom side. It did a decent amount of damage, but that is going to end up falling through the help of the Genji. But we do have a potential hold coming out from NMD. They're starting to move forward and force away the members of Milkshake back, and looks like they could very well just hold on to this one.
NMD members are back, however, heroics are quite down on the side of both teams. We've only got a Phoenix ready to rock and roll for NMD. On the side of Milkshake, Taunt is up, so if they do need to turn, Curse Ball Taunt combo, definitely viable, definitely up.
Oh, and they look like they want to get something happening. They want to catch someone out with a Tiki rotation, but there's no one there. But this is going to be the boss that they're looking at right now, as it is going to be spawned, and I mean, they're already there, but it looks like the rest of NMD are starting to make their way through. His Hiccup is going to be the first target. Takes so much damage, there's absolutely nothing he can do to stick around there, and he is going to fall. And that's one of those massive frontliners on the side of NMD down, and yet again they get a pick and they start to look towards this boss.
Milkshake, that was the pick that they were waiting for. We saw them postured there for so long. This time they know Curse ended. All right, they'll check boss. They anticipate that we want it. We've been doing it all game. Read that one like a T, really predicting NMD's movements. This affects NMD a little bit. And also, it means that they have to be wary because Milkshake, they're creeping up to that all-important Storm talent at level 20.
Yeah, when we see that level 20, we could very well just see them just force their way into a fight and try and make the most of that advantage as they can. As you mentioned, that boss has ended. We will have a wave pushing in favor of NMD on the bottom side, but with camps pushing on the top side and a very low keep on that top side for NMD, they'd be very wary of how those waves are positioned.
I mean, if they play their cards right, they could actually use this boss to push down that top keep and just go for the win on the core with that boss escorted. What they do need to make that happen, though, is at least 2 picks, maybe even more, on the side of NMD at this point of time in the game.
Yeah, and we're seeing NMD now. They're realizing what Milkshake are wanting to do, so they're rotating as groups. They're not sending one person out on their own just to get picked off, as they wanted to start that boss, but Milkshake are in the vicinity, so they have to be very careful about how to play this, as level 20 is so very close on the side of Milkshake, as throughout all of that, Crazy Dave was just picking up that mercenary camp on the mid lane for him.
Exactly. They're both trying to use their merc camps to force a rotation, if you will.
Oh, a nice Graviton locks down the Malfurion. He's going to get taunted, and he's just not able to do too much in this fight just yet. As a nice interceptor goes down onto the Greyman, as the Malthael is actually going to be the first one to fall, drop a little bit too low, but the Malfurion drops. He doesn't even get the chance to use his Twilight Dream, so it's just going to be 1-for-1, but that's the healer down on the side of NMD, and that could be incredibly impactful. His Deceptive Knife is actually going to go very low, but with all the shooting and the healing, yeah, he gets dragged back in again thanks to yet another Groundbreaker, but just, they've used all of their combo, and they weren't able to get the kill in that first blunderbuss shot, essentially. And then they don't necessarily have as much follow-up for the next time.
They don't. I mean, I'm looking at Ninja's numbers. They're great as KT. He's sitting on 78k hero damage. However, no one is dying on the side of Milkshake, showing that all of his damage, yeah, they look great on pen and paper, but no one's dying. That's the sustainability, the durability that they have. We've got the Varian, he's got his parry. We've got Crazy Dave, he can top people up with the Ancestral. Even Magic Gnome's got self-sustain, and then the shields coming out of Coffee Club Azaria. This is why they've just got so many protection tools as they go time and time again. Yes, they got Magic Gnome in that fight. He's already back, however, and more importantly, 20's been picked up. It looks like both teams, they want to swap bosses on this side. NMD, they know that they need to get rid of this top boss, or they need to capture for themselves. That's their lowest key.
Yeah, so it is just going to be that boss trade, but it looks like Milkshake, they just want to deal with the boss on the top side, just not let that get any more value than it deserves. And we now, as you mentioned, we've got Storm Talons on both sides. We actually have no one can stop death onto the Malthael, so we've been seeing him go very aggressive, sometimes not of his own volition. And if he does end up going down in these fights, he can come back incredibly quickly, and that could very well just be the turning factor once we get later into this game.
You can. Tribute up. Neither teams are close yet to that curse. They need to defend these bosses, so it's just going to be a mirror map. Next fight will come up on the Tribute. That's going to be the telling factor. Look at that keep. It's on negative health, essentially, on the side of NMD in that bottom lane. You've got to be feeling.
Literally 6 HP.
I'd be mad if that stayed up. Denying your catapults.
Yeah, and that could, if that keep did go down, that could have been a massive point of contention, or at least a point of pressure for Milkshake to work with. But as it is, it's just going to be all keeps up on both sides as we do get the brawling around the point. Azog taking a few flame strikes too many as he's dropped a little bit too low, but he's going to stick around in this fight as we do have a good setup for the side of NMD, but looks like Magic Gnome's trying to get his way in there. There he goes with those Tormented Souls. He does jump his way back, but the Big Ray is taking so much damage as the Twilight Dream does get used, but it doesn't hit any of the priority members as they are going to be forced back as Arthurs ends up just dropping in the backline to some incidental damage, and that is going to allow Milkshake to pick up the second tribute and be on Curse Point.
That's it, Memento Mori ticking down, sealing the deal for Vicarak. These fights are so close this game. This entire game has been a back and forth. Look at this great, massive wave pushing down. They keep in the middle lane, so at least NMD have a keep for their troubles. They need Vicarak back, however, to help them defend the rest of this. 2 keeps low now.
Yeah, they are going to lose that top one. That's just going to be a very consolidated push coming out of Milkshake, but they have to actually get back to their base and be very aware of this wave pushing in. As you mentioned, it was a massive wave, and they end up cleaning up that keep, so we only have a single keep down on both sides. It's going to be the top side down for NMD, the middle one for Milkshake. I feel as though the middle one is a little bit more manageable when it comes to the map rotations.
It can be. It's the shortest lane to run out in. However, Milkshake, they could siege that bottom one quite easily. But this is where things get hairy. So NMD, they've read it. They need to defend this tribute. Otherwise, it's going to be a guaranteed GG for them with the curse. However, they also can't lose their lives in this process because death times are getting very, very long now. It will just allow Milkshake a free run into the core.
Yeah, and we're starting to see mercenary camps picked up on the side of Milkshake. They have the Knights going through mid, Siege going through top, as well as catapults up there, so they have a lot of pressure to work with it just in the lane, so they can just stall this out as much as they possibly can and allow the waves to essentially do the job for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That is about putting pressure, calling everyone's bluff, forcing NMD to perhaps pick a fight that they wouldn't elsewise want to pick.
Yeah, we see Milkshake, they managed to bully their way onto the point. They had the position as Azog is going to get flipped into the team. He takes so much damage, but the Storm Shield and also the Ancestral comes in doing so much work as Hiccup takes a lot of damage from the Cursed Bullet, and the Tormentor's Souls is going to rip through NMD as it looks like we're just getting members of that team falling one by one. The healing is just not nearly enough as Lahal is going to be one of the last few to go, as Ninja does have the arcane barrier to help him stay alive, but he has not nearly enough to stick around in the fight. That is going to be the 4th down on the side of NMD. The curse was picked up, and this could very well just be GG right here.
It's definitely going to be GG. NMD, they don't have the timers nor the minion waves with their buildings being cursed. They don't have the defense. And, I mean, I can see what they're trying to do with that Wrecking Ball on the side of Azog. He was so separated from his team, but it's what they wanted. As we saw, the instant Storm Shield, as well as folded up by the healing, gave him enough durability to survive. They were trying to lay out a lot of damage. They're kind of playing as though they had the Malthael on their team, who can shred the tanks, who can... If you do get a pick on a tank, Malthael can shred it. Great, it's not the worst pick. However, we could see it's just not viable. It's really what started punishing NMD.
Yeah, it seemed that they were using it too much like a Stitches substitute, and they were trying to plug that into those kind of compositions a little bit too much. It just wasn't really working out, but in the end, that is actually just going to be the 2-0 over to Milkshake. A lot of people were suggesting, or requesting, us to go through these replays, so thank you, Vandy, for coming along to help out with these, and hope everyone enjoys this series.